Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Mr. Hino with Mr. Hino's Lego Robotics. As the calendar turns to August here and we start to get very exciting into the new first Lego League season of BioGlow, I thought it would be just really helpful to just talk to first Lego League coaches and mentors out there to just remember the 7 things that really make a good first Lego League team. So hopefully this is helpful. I started coaching First Lego League back in 2014 with Trash Trek. I was so overwhelmed, but I said, you know what? The only way I'm going to learn this is just to dive in head first. And we made some major mistakes, but we learned so much in the process. And it just helped us build a better kind of repertoire to get better for the next year and the year after that. And so for those of you that are starting off brand new, just dive in. Write down some notes and then just improve on that for the next year. So today, like I said, I have 7 things to hopefully help you and this team that you have this year, whether they're rookies, whether they are, doing really well. These are always helpful reminders. So here we go. Number 1, I would say if I'm coaching a first Lego League team, I'd rather have consistency over being lucky. And here's what I mean. Consistency means that it's just the same every time. When I have my first Lego League team and they do a mission, I say, do it again. I said, do it 10 times. I don't feel good unless my team can get like 8, 9, or 10 out of 10. If they get 3 out of 10, I said, this is not working. We need to figure out how to make it more consistent and more reliable. So that's going to happen with, the robot being, when they program it, have a very simple program. The good teams out there, they're going to make very few turns. See if you can accomplish a mission, because first Lego League, they always put missions where you can just go straight. Have your team just focus on how can we make this more reliable, where we can get 8, 9, 10 out of 10 rather than, hey, we got lucky and we got 3 times out of 10. Figure out a way for the attachments, the driving base, the programming to help make your team make it more consistent. I'd rather my team get 250 points, first round, second round, third round, than to be lucky and get a 350 point round and then 140. Because now you're just getting super inconsistent. You're depending on luck. And with First Lego League, you really can't depend on luck. The second thing I would say that helps a First Lego League team to be successful is simplicity wins. You see these teams that try to make these fancy, complicated robots. Sometimes they do work. I will give you that. With all these fancy attachments. But the good teams figure out how can we accomplish this the simplest way we can. They have attachments that are simple to put on, easy to take off, easy to program, and ultimately saves a lot of time. The third thing that I would say helps a first Lego League team with their robot game would be a simple, reliable driving base. It doesn't matter how fancy and cool your attachments are. If your driving base cannot drive straight, make a turn, come back home, then it's just a fancy attachment without a lot of success. The fourth thing would be practice, practice, practice. In fact, if I could even add another one, is perfect practice. The good teams are not going to program more. They're going to practice and make the mission reliable more. They're the ones that are going to say, let's do this again. Let's do this again. Like I said, they'll do this 10 times. They'll do this 20 times until they feel comfortable with the outcome. And that's, again, just making it simple, making sure that everything aligns with the driving base, the attachments, just the simplest thing to make that consistent, reliable mission the same thing every single time. I know a lot of you have heard this before, but I'm going to pound it again. The fifth thing would be strategy, strategy, strategy. In the robot game, there are so many teams that want to try to do all the missions, and there's just not enough time. and I just think it spreads the mission or the robot game out too thin. I would rather have my students or my first Lego League team be solid on half of them where everything's reliable than trying everything and trying to get these ginormous amount of points. When you look at the robot game, there's always going to be these missions that seem enticing, but when you look at the reliability of the mission, the amount of points they're worth, I would always say skip over those and try to get the ones that are just for sure more reliable missions, where I'd rather get the 10 points every single time than get the 20 points where you're crossing your fingers just hoping that it's going to happen. Number 6 is going to be teamwork. And this is not going to just be for robot game. This is now covering the entire competition. I would say for teamwork, and I've seen this in teams that I've had, I've seen this in these teams that we were competing against, the ones that are just knit together. They always share the responsibilities for everything. Everybody on the team talks. Everybody on the team is willing to talk, excited to talk, share what they learned through their experience. And so that's going to come with the one that we had before on practice, practice, practice. These students are not going to be excited to speak unless they've practiced what they're speaking about. They're not going to be excited unless they've had their hands on the robot or the innovative project to want to explain everything. So the student that has not had their hands on the robot or the project, they're going to be very reluctant to talk. And so that's why we want to get as many of your students or teammates involved in every aspect of the team, so that when it's time to talk, everybody can feel confident to do their part. Everybody on your team should also be able to explain why you made your choices. When judges ask, why did you do this certain mission, everybody on the team should be able to explain, why did you do this 10-point mission instead of this 25-point mission? The strategies should have been shared with everybody, not just the ones who are coding, not just the ones who built the attachments or the robot. Everybody has a shared responsibility to know, why did we make these decisions? That way, if judges ask those questions, everybody is just ready to answer it. And the last one, number 7, would be gracious professionalism and core values. Judges just love the teams that just seem to cohesively fit together. They have a great time. They laugh, they joke, they know their information, they know their part. Everybody has their strengths, and everybody, if you have a weakness, shares in helping that person's weakness become stronger. They share the responsibility of helping to solve a problem. Everybody shares the responsibility of making sure that everybody is, everybody plays a part and is not left out of anything. And that's going to come with time. If you're a first-year team, that's going to be tough for everybody to just kind of know everybody's strength and weakness. How can we get along? That's going to take some time. And so that's why the better teams they go to a competition, they learn, this is where we need to improve, and they help each other get better. Good first Lego League teams also figure out ways how to solve problems if you have disagreements. So as your team, works on the robot game or the innovative project, have a team system. If there's a disagreement, how do we fix that? So that way each person can talk on that and say, yeah, we didn't always agree. And when we didn't, we had this certain system in place so that we could solve these problems graciously without anybody's feelings getting hurt. We talked about it, and we just became a stronger team because of it. So I've seen this enough times where the teams that just seem to get along better, they're a better team fit, seem to excel over the ones that just get a high robot score. And if you're lucky to be a coach that has both, man, you have done something magical, because that's tough to find, where a team that just has every base covered, that truly shows that they practiced and just spend a lot of time together to become that really tight-knit team. So for those of you that are first year, first LEGO League coaches, I would definitely try to emphasize just the teamwork aspect of, your first year. All of the things are going to fall into place, but your team just needs to realize we need to know our core values. We need to understand that everybody has a part to play in us competing. We all need to help each other become better. We all need to figure out ways to solve our disagreements. And that's something that's just going to take time, where you just can't, rush that. You have to let your team just kind of evolve and get better. And so don't put a lot of pressure on yourself that first year. I know, like me, I put too high of an expectation on myself, which I think can be good. But definitely, take your experience and just go, I'm going to learn the best I can. And if I don't, I'm going to take the pieces. And you're going to find that in your first LEGO League rubrics. We're going to, celebrate our strong points, but definitely work on the ones where we got low scores on and just to become better. So last year, my team, we did some awesome, amazing things. We are going to sit down this year before the season starts and go, hey guys, this is where our lowest scores were. Pick one or two. If you have five, you can try to figure out how to fix all five, but I would say, guys, let's work on these two to see if we can become better. So that way, instead of 4 really high scores, I might have 6 or 7. And that should hopefully result in you doing better than you did last year, just taking what you know and just making it better. So to finish off this video, I just know that first LEGO League as a coach, it was the most rewarding thing that I started, that I was very reluctant to do. But if you're, consistent writing down, this is what I want to do better, this is where I want to see my team grow, and just make those notes. Look at your first LEGO League rubrics from year to year. If you're a first year coach, that's going to be tough to do because you don't have those. But once you compete and once you get this feedback, and that's where you might invite other coaches to sit in on a practice and just observe and maybe make some, recommendations, figure out some blind spots that you might be missing. And hopefully you can have a great first LEGO League season. So guys, I appreciate you watching. Continue to watch and subscribe, because I'm going to be doing more first LEGO League videos, especially because I remember being a first year coach and I don't remember a whole lot being on YouTube. And I want to just definitely help you guys out so we have more people involved and just loving this experience, okay? Thank you guys again. I am Mr. Hino from Mr. Hino's LEGO Robotics. I'm out.
He's out.
He's out.
We got this.
We got this.
We got this, guys.
Hey guys, Mr. Hino here. Thank you so much for watching. And if you love robotics, don't forget to check out these videos also because they're cool. Okay guys, take care.